Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode. So today I'm gonna tell y'all about why I went vegan. I think this is important for people to know about me because y'all know a lot of stuff about me. Like people who listen to this podcast, y'all know a lot more about me than most people do. Like y'all know more about me than a lot of my family members do, and that's insane. So I just feel like I should share this with y'all, like why not? So I went vegan back in 2020. Okay. And really, if I can be truthful, it was because I had gained weight. Um, I had gained so much weight and I was just I'm looking around and I'm like, okay, what is a way that I can lose weight quickly and I wouldn't have to be in a crowded gym because, it was the whole COVID thing going on. People was acting weird. I never was worried about COVID. It had just came out. People was acting weird about it. And I'm like, I don't feel like being around other people who are worried about this stuff. So I was like, how can I lose weight without being around people at the gym or without going to the gym, period? And so I looked around, and I saw this video. And this girl was talking about how she lost 30 pounds in a few months. I want to say she said 2 months, but I don't know. And so she lost weight and she was like, this is how I did it. I didn't eat no meat and I didn't eat no dairy the entire time. And I lost the weight. And I'm like, let me try that. And you know what's crazy? I tried it. And at the time I was thinking about, I'm like, next time I go to the grocery store, I'm getting nothing but stuff for me to make vegan food. And so I had a refrigerator full of cheese, refrigerator full of milk, yogurt, chicken nuggets, hamburger meat, all that stuff, right? And so I just pretty much gave it away. I had a dog at the time. I only had her for a short period of time, but I just fed her the chicken nuggets and she loved them. So I just fed her all of them and that's how I got rid of those. But I went to the store. I started looking up different recipes and looking at different things that I could make, while on this vegan journey, this new, technically vegan journey. And so I think I started March of 2020, and it was hard at first. It was hard. If anybody is thinking about starting this journey or trying to do this, it is difficult at first. The first couple weeks of you doing it, you're going to feel like you're starving. You're going to feel like you haven't ate enough food. And that's your body getting used to this new lifestyle. I'm telling you, after a while, your body will get used to it. But the first few weeks is rough. You're not going to be eating until you're full anymore. You're just eating to basically stay alive. And for the nutrients from the food to help your body and give your body energy. You're not eating for glutton anymore. You're not eating so that you can feel full and roll over and go to sleep. No, it's totally different now. You're eating for different reasons and you have to do your research. So one reason is I went vegan because I had gained weight. It threw me into a spiritual awakening. I went vegan. I should title this Why I Went Vegan and Stayed Vegan, because it threw me into a spiritual awakening and it's what I needed at the time. I was going through a lot. I was going through a lot of stress and I was worried about a lot of things at that time. And so once I stopped eating meat and dairy, it started opening my mind to different things and I started learning so much. I started receiving downloads. I started learning so much information in short periods of time. And I liked it. I really liked it. I liked opening my mind to different things and, just watching how clear my mind was and watching myself start to observe my own thoughts instead of believing them, and teaching myself how to meditate and teaching myself how to be one with myself. That's pretty much what it started to teach me, and I liked it. So yeah, threw me into a spiritual awakening. Number 3, it promotes ascension. And so the energy that you attract will be much stronger and faster. So when you're doing things, when you're doing manifestation work, or when you're using your energy for whatever you're using it for, yes, it'll still work because energy is always there. It's always here, there, everywhere, all at once, right? So once you're using it for something, of course it's still going to work, but it's not going to be as effective as if you were, like I've said before in the Raising Your Vibration episode. Yeah, it's going to work, but it's not going to be as strong because you having less food or you having certain types of food in your system will get you closer and closer to the divine. It gets you closer and closer to the energy that is moving through this world, if that makes sense. I'm trying to break it down so that y'all understand. Like, it gets you close and it gets you friends basically with that, so that things are going to start working much faster. You're going to see things that you think about come into your reality damn near instantly. That's not AI. That's not, the FBI on your phone. That is you creating it. That is you bringing it to you. You brought it to yourself so quickly. We could be sitting here talking about something right now, and boom, it happens. And it doesn't have to be on the internet. It could be in your reality. Me and my friend have been talking on the phone about something, and literally the exact things that we was on the phone talking about, I met another person and they brought it up. I met a total stranger and they brought up what me and him were talking about. Like, that's the kind of stuff that'll happen. You'll start to see things work out. And so that's when you start to realize, like, oh, this shit is real. Like, this shit is really working. And you start to research, because once you start to see the proof, then you do your research. Now you're reading books. Now you're craving more and more knowledge. And the knowledge will come to you when it needs to. And how you know that it's for you is because it'll be the pieces of something that you've already learned. So say you just learned about something today, and maybe next week somebody will be talking about something that's going to lead you to the next part of it. And then that leads you to the next part of it. And then maybe you might see something here on this platform. Then you might hear a conversation there. And like everything it starts to piece itself together for you. You don't even have to look for it anymore. You don't even have to research anymore, because the knowledge attracts itself to you. I should be a teacher. I should be an instructor at this point. But anyway, all right. So, but that's how it happens. And so, yes, people who are eating meat, they're eating chicken, they're eating the red meat, they're eating a whole bunch of cheese, milk, all that stuff every single day. 90% of the time they're eating that, and 10% of the time they might have a salad. Okay. Yes, if they come up to me or they come up to someone who is doing this shit and are vegan and are serious about it, and they never slack off, because I have slacked off here and there and I have ate some cheese here and there. But like somebody who is just in that shit, baby, their manifestations are not going to come in as quick, and they're not going to be able to do things as fast on that other side. That's all I'm saying. So yeah, it's like being on the Wi-Fi at your granny's house, and then being on the Wi-Fi at your granny's house versus going to be on the Wi-Fi at the Apple store. It's going to be totally fucking different. It's going to be much quicker, much faster. And there's no comparison, really. Still works, but might not be as effective. So, okay, let's get off that. I watch documentaries. I watch documentaries, and I know there's some people who are like, I can't watch documentaries. It's so boring. Oh, it's so this, so that. Girl, shut up and watch a documentary and learn something. Oh, I can't. I'm going to fall asleep. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do it. Well, if you really want it, you ain't going to fall asleep. If you really want to learn, you're going to pay attention. And if that's not the way that you learn, that's different. If you don't learn by watching the TV screen, or if you don't learn by audible information, then okay, maybe you should read a book. Maybe watching TV doesn't help you. Maybe reading books helps you. Maybe, having somebody talk to you the way that I'm talking to you and explaining things out to you. Somebody who has experienced it. Maybe someone on TV, you might not take it seriously, but somebody who has experienced it and who is doing it, maybe that is how you learn, so find your learning style and see in that way, just in that way, you are learning. You see what I'm saying? Like, you see how it's inside of itself. Just in that way, you're learning more about yourself on this journey. Like, do you see that? So people being vegan may sound like a cult to you. It may sound like we're all just crazy people who are trying to force everybody to eat plants only. But once you do it, you'll open your eyes and you will really understand, or you will really understand, because that's really what it is. But I watch documentaries like What the Health. See, do y'all see that? That's confirmation. That alarm is confirmation. Like, I'm not telling y'all no lies. I'm telling y'all the total truth. Like, if you spiritual, y'all heard them sirens. I'm giving you urgent information, like real information. But What the Health is really, really good. The guy on there, he goes around kind of like the guy who did Super Size Me. He did research on all the different foods that people are eating, the foods that people are eating from these doctors' offices, and how doctors' offices are not really helping people and how they're aiding in the process of hurting people. And he would call the doctors' offices and be like, hey, why are y'all, if you're trying to help people with diabetes, then why are the recipes on your website? Why isn't it plant-based? Why is it chicken? Why is it beef? Why is it all these different things that are going to continue to harm them and make them sick? And these doctors would hang up in his face. They would never return his calls. They would avoid him so much because they know the truth. They know. So you watch that. You watch What the Health, Cowspiracy. These are on Netflix. Forks Over Knives. And these are for people who do want to know and people who do want to do this. If you don't want to do this and you just listening, that's fine. I'm not forcing it on anybody. I'm just telling you my opinions and why I did it. No pressure on anyone. And I did my research I watched those things and I did my research on what it does to the body. I did my research on what certain foods do to the body. I did my research on how it affects the brain. Like cheese. Nobody knows why cheese is so good. Nobody knows why we can't stop eating cheese. Hell, I'm a victim of it. I can't stop eating cheese, right? Cheese has casein protein in it. Casein protein it's like when you eat cheese, you get little hits of heroin, because casein is in heroin. It's like you get little bits of it to your brain. And so you become addicted over a while. So imagine how much cheese we've had in our lives. Imagine how much cheese you've had in different things. You've had, and you feel like you have to have cheese on every damn thing, right? People have salads. They have to have cheese on it. There has to be some type of cheese. When you eat Italian food, there has to be some type of cheese, Parmesan cheese, mozzarella cheese. There has to be, on a sandwich, there has to be some type of cheese. Think about it. In most foods, there is always cheese, right? And so if you can get away from cheese, that'll be your best bet. And it's very, very hard. It is so hard to stop doing cheese. And I say stop doing cheese because it's like a drug. After a while, you start to forget about it. The more that you don't eat something is the more you forget about it. When I started making sandwiches, because I still needed cheese, so I would buy vegan cheese. So when I would make my sandwiches with the vegan cheese slices, after a while, it broke my addiction to cheese and I stopped caring about it. So after a while, I never thought about cheese anymore. And the same thing with sweets. I never thought about sweets anymore. I didn't think about cake and ice cream and candy and all that stuff. I never thought about it until somebody offered it to me. They're like, hey, did you want some of these cupcakes or did you want some cookies or whatever? I'm like, oh shit, there's cookies? Cookies exist? Like, like sweets exist because you don't worry about it until it's presented to you because it's not natural. It's not something that you're supposed to be eating anyway. And your body goes back to, it factory resets. It goes back to what it was supposed to be. And there was never supposed to be desserts. So I'm getting a little too deep into this, but I'm just going off on a tangent, y'all. But okay. Yeah, dairy. Dairy weakens the immune system. So why things like, cheese, milk, yogurt, ice cream, that kind of stuff, it weakens the immune system and it slows it down. So my thing is, you don't want a weak immune system because you don't want to get sick. I rarely got sick. Like I usually get sick at least. I don't get sick much anyways. I probably get sick maybe once or twice a year because of allergies or I might get a cold or something. But I've never been a real sickly person anyway. But you don't want a slowed down immune system or a weakened immune system because it's going to make you open to getting sick. But when you're eating like this, you barely ever get sick. Like damn near never get sick, not even with a cold. Y'all, not even with a cold. Your nose will never be stopped up. You will never get sick. And so that told me alone that I'm doing the right thing. And why would I want my body to use its energy to try to detox itself off of dairy and off of all these different things when my energy could be used instead to bring in what I'm manifesting or to bring in things that I want into my reality? I would rather my body and the energy that I have to work towards something that I actually want than to tire myself out. And my body is working and tiring itself out to break down some food that I'm not even supposed to be eating, things that are making me sick. Does that make sense, y'all? Like when you start looking at it from a different perspective, then it makes more sense. With the energy that's all around you at all times, and you're able to transmute it, and you realize that you're able to do all these different things with it, then you start to move differently and you start to think differently. So next, the frequency of the earth is increasing. The frequency of the earth is increasing. So my body needs to increase with it. And everybody's talking about, when are we going to get our powers? We have powers and this and that, and we're going to be able to do this, we're going to be able to do that, on this new earth and on these new things that are happening. You're only going to be able to do those things if your frequency increases. If your frequency increases with the earth, then yeah, you'll be able to do things. You'll be able to have the knowledge that people had in ancient times, the things that people were able to do back then. But you have to have your body on that level. When the earth starts to raise its frequency, just like I told y'all in Raise Your Vibration episode, things cannot exist on a higher frequency if they're operating on a lower frequency. So let that sink in. If the earth is moving to a higher frequency and most people are operating on a lower frequency, what does that tell you? Okay? So, next, I saw my family. And I looked around at everybody and I paid attention to everybody. And I seen what it looked like for somebody with my body type to be severely overweight. And I didn't like that. I didn't like it. This is a less serious reason, but this is really like one of the main reasons why, because I saw my family, I saw what they look like when they get severely overweight. And I'm like, well, it's a chance that that's what I would look like. And I've seen myself be overweight too. And I didn't like it. I've seen myself be overweight. And I'm just like, if I went any further. So I had to show myself and I had to decide, okay, I'm not going to get past this weight. This is the weight that I do not need to get past, because if I get past that weight, I'm going to start being unattractive and I'm going to start feeling unattractive and I'm not going to feel my best. I'm not going to feel my most confident. I'm not going to do that. And when I don't feel my best and I don't feel attractive and I don't feel my most confident, I do not work well. I do not present myself well to the outside world. And if I don't present myself well to the outside world, then the things that I want and the things that I'm going after, I'm not going to receive. So everything goes hand in hand with each other. I'm like, okay, well, if my body don't look good, then the clothes that I put on and the clothes that I have for myself in my closet are not going to look good on me. If my clothes don't look good on me, then when I go out and I'm trying to go on these dates and I'm trying to meet all these different people and I'm trying to network and I don't feel comfortable, I don't feel confident. So I'm not going to perform as well. Does this make sense to y'all? All of those things go hand in hand for me. So I have to work on the root of it for everything else to succeed. So yeah, I seen how the bodies looked. I don't like how the bodies still look. So I'm like, nah, I'm gonna make sure my body don't look like that. And I noticed if I get past a certain weight, then that's what it's gonna look like. And I ain't got time for that. So yeah, that's all. All in all, it's not that I don't like meat. It's not that meat and cheese doesn't taste good, because it definitely does. It's delicious. I love all the different foods that you can make and eat. But I realized that I have eaten a lot. I have eaten a lot of food in my life. I have tasted a lot of different things, and a lot of this food is really just the same thing over and over again anyway. It's all just the same thing. It ain't nothing but meat and cheese over and over. Meat and cheese and pasta and rice and bread over and over again in different ways. That's all this stuff is. So I'm really not missing out on nothing. It's more about taking care of myself and less about how much I can eat and less about missing out on something, because I don't think I'm missing out on anything. And for the people who are ignorant, because there are those, for the people who are ignorant, they don't understand the benefits behind it and how great it is for your body and for your mind. Even if you don't go vegan for the rest of your life, even if you just go vegan for 6 months, 8 months, and really just get into it and understand what it's doing for your body and how it's helping you. Even if you eat whatever you want to eat majority of the time, and then you go vegan for 3 months and don't eat none of that shit and then go back to eating it, you could even do that. People who do not seek knowledge and people who do not have any interest in educating themselves, they're going to always have something to say. They're going to turn into you think you better because you vegan. She vegan, so she must be, the shit, and she thinks she better than people and blah, blah, blah. No. It's just that I want to be better for myself. I'm better than my old self. And it's so annoying to meet people and they find out you're vegan and they always worried about what you gonna eat and watching your plate, and because they don't believe that it's possible because they don't have the discipline to do it. So they think nobody else can do it. They don't have the discipline. Once you get deep into it and you've been doing it for a while It's second nature to you. You don't crave meat. You don't crave beef and cheese. You never worry about that shit anymore. So it's easy for you to do. It's easy. Sometimes you do have to eat before you go somewhere because there don't be no vegan options. Sometimes you have to pack your lunch or whatever. But it's worth it because the benefits that you are seeing, the way that your body looks, the way that your mind is working, is so much, it's worth it. In my opinion. And just because you don't have the discipline to do something, that doesn't mean that nobody else does. That's the same thing for people who get up and go run miles and miles and miles. People who get up and go run 5, 6, 7 miles in the morning. The fuck? Nobody is hounding them and asking them, oh, did you run today? Did you run 5 miles today? Or did you just run 4? Or did you just run 2 miles today? Or did you just do this? Or did you just... No, nobody is hounding them and bothering them. Just because you don't have the discipline to do, because I don't have the discipline to do it, but I'm not finna go hound them and bother them about it. They better in themselves for whatever reason that they want to do that, whatever reason they feel like it works for them, it works for them. They have that discipline. Everybody doesn't have the same discipline. So remember that. Because how are you mad? How are you mad that somebody want to better themselves? That's crazy to me. That's always been crazy to me. That's that ignorant ass thinking. That's that ignorant ass black mentality that we have to get rid of that shit too. That ignorant ass way of thinking. But yeah, y'all. I wanted to put this episode out and thank y'all for listening. And I'll catch y'all in the next one.